Hey, good morning, everybody. So in this video, something cool was shared with me on one of my previous videos. And so in my previous videos, I made a video called Sprint Insight. There were several videos where I talked about different things that goes on with Sprint to kind of help people who are on Sprint kind of understand how all this stuff is working in the background, because that's one of the biggest confusion between customers and call center agents is that the customers don't see what's going on in the background, and it leads for a very bad experience. And so I wanted to kind of clarify a few things through those videos, and a viewer actually commented a video that they put to YouTube that contains an actual conversation with a retention agent and a supervisor. So, link in the description so you guys can pretty much follow along with what I'm about to say in this video on what I think of that phone call that they had. Okay, so one, and I'm probably giving out too much information here, but oh well, I don't work for Sprint anymore. And this is only to help consumers too. This is not in any way to badmouth Sprint. Okay. So let's go over the fact of this call being an escalated call, because they talk to the retention agent. The retention agent notates the account, everything that they're saying that happened with the previous call that they had a day ago, trying to get their bill fixed. Initially, the problem is that their bill is way over than what it should have been. They were quoted at a store that they got these phones and plan $183. So they were expecting a bill of $183. They make mention in the call that they got their first bill, which was like $344, and they figured it was activation fees and a prorated bill, because if you start your plan, doesn't necessarily mean that day is the day that you start your bill cycle. So you get a prorated first bill. Your first bill is always going to be high. And it sounded like they understood that, and so they paid that bill. But then their second bill comes in, it's like $376. Now they're like, what's going on? And so basically, yeah, they talk to the retention. They explain to the retention agent what's going on. And then they escalate on the retention agent. They want to talk to the supervisor, because the previous day before, they spoke to the supervisor who didn't do the callback. Now, this is one of those things where I felt like that Sprint should have always implemented a callback system within the system that they use. So the system that they use to see the customer's account, how many lines they have, billing address, and additional like features added onto the bill, they should have something within there that when you set up a callback, that the last known agent gets a notification of the callback, and even if the call was escalated, they can tell the supervisor who spoke with that customer, hey, in 15 minutes there's going to be an automatic callback, or a callback is needed. And even if the retention agent's on the call, if the supervisor should call back, that retention agent can hit that supervisor in chat, tell them 15 minutes, call back from yesterday's escalation, give them the interaction ID number, so that supervisor can get to an empty desk, pull up the account, review the account, call the customer back. But they don't have something like this implemented, and I don't think they're going to get this thing implemented. But anyways, so they didn't get the call back, so they called back in, talked to a retention rep, explain. Retention rep tried to explain the billing and all this other stuff. Now, there's several things that's wrong here that's happening. One was that by listening to this conversation, the store reps told them they would be on 4 lines for 100, 5th line free on the Unlimited Freedom promotional plan. They placed the customer on 2 different price plans, which is why their bill was so high. Now, the only time that I know of this actually happening where a store rep cannot put lines on a certain promotional plan, and they do this split plan type of BS that they do, is because the account did not qualify for it. However, Sprint store reps are out there to make sales to get their commissions. So if they tell you about a promotional plan, or if you go in and ask them about a promotional plan and they need to make that sale, their sale quota, they will tell you they can put you on that plan, even if you're not qualified for it. Most promotional plans for Sprint, which is the bad news, is usually targeted towards bringing in new customers. So the new customers are always going to get the better deal than the loyal customers, which is one of the things I hated about mobile phone companies. It's like you should have something just as equivalent with your loyal customers as well as your new customers coming in. I've seen it firsthand. 20-year customers who have been with Sprint since 1999 calling in to cancel because they feel like that Sprint does not care about their long, loyal customers. And a 20-year customer deserves a lot. That's 20 years. Okay, that's a long time. Anyhow, now one thing that I didn't hear mentioned from the Sprint representatives talking to the customers in this call was NSS. NSS is National Sales Support, and the reason that they're there is they're there to fix issues that a store created. They handle the store level type stuff that happens. Retention should be able to do this and simplify things. However, there have been people who work for Sprint that have abused the system. And so every time these little idiotic things happen, retention agents that are good at their job lose a tool that they were using to help save customers from walking out. Like credits. People will be like, you're the retention department. Why do you have to talk to somebody else to get credits? You're a supervisor. Why can't you just give me these credits? Well, technically Sprint, doesn't like the fact that we give out credits. And every time that too much credit is given out in a quarter, they basically start to pull back what we're able to give out in credits right there on the spot. So everything has to be audited. What we send in to request for credits to be applied onto an account gets audited by a back office team. Now, back office team doesn't have a direct line for you to call them, hence the name back office, which means agents who deal with your account that you have no access to talk to them. So the front lines people that you talk to, they have to take the brunt of the aggravation and the annoyance and getting yelled at. They have to build a case and send it to the back office, and the back office is the one who applies the adjustments. Now, if the back office finds something that was not correctly put in or something that shouldn't be given to the customer, they will go by Sprint policy. So they will not apply the adjustments, which means that the representatives catch the brunt of the anger when the customer calls back in because the adjustments are never applied. And, for the agent, they're not supposed to say, well, our back office team is handling it, because they're not even supposed to mention the back office team. So yeah, they got to bear the brunt of everything, as if, which is the point, is that they have to take ownership of the call and take ownership of the problems and try to explain things as best as possible and not throw it off and pass it off to somebody else, which is what a lot of Sprint representatives do nowadays, is they just pass off the blame to somebody else. They forget at the end of the day that they are all Sprint. When you answer that call and you say, hi, thank you for calling Sprint. My name is yada yada yada. Yeah, you are Sprint. So they kind of forget that. And the biggest problem is that store reps, because of their, and I'm not saying all store reps are like this, okay? So if you're a store rep, don't get your hairs twisted. There are certain store reps who are absolutely honest with their customers to provide the best customer service as possible and actually care for the customers. And then you have other stores who are just in it for the sales. Like, they don't care if they screwed you over. Boom, right? So anyways, in this call, it goes through, it gets passed off to a supervisor who takes over the call, and he's made aware of what's going on, and he gets the approval for a $300 adjustment. And then he goes over the bill walkthrough, because technically the customers wanted their bill to be at $183, which was quoted to them from the store. He was able to figure out a few other things, like they brought a bring your own device line added onto the account. The store rep told them that line wouldn't be charged anything because, one, they did not contract for a new phone. They brought their own phone, and they were just getting a Sprint line. However, the system that Sprint uses, sometimes when you add on a bring your own device, it puts a 2-year contract on it, which is ridiculously stupid. But these are known issues that we know about, and we have a quick way to correct them to make sure that the customer's not getting a subsidized phone charge anymore. Subsidized phone charge basically means is that when you buy a phone at a subsidized price, so it's discounted, say a $700 phone retails $700, and you buy it at Sprint for $100, but you sign a contract to say that I will be at Sprint for 2 years, and that's the reason why you got the phone at a $600 discount. You can't have a line that has a device that was purchased subsidized on a discounted plan like the Unlimited Freedom, because that's 2 major discounts you're getting. So to offset that, you get a $25 subsidized phone charge every month until that contract is completed. Once that contract is completed, that 25 sub fee goes away. Now, if you bring your own device and the system puts it to your contract on it, it's easy to override and get rid of because there's not an actual contract. So with the supervisor being able to get that overrode and taken off and getting the bill fixed and adjustments to the account, the customer was left with looking at an average monthly charge of $201, which is about an $18 to $19 difference than what they were quoted at from the store. Now the customer decided, after going over the bill and seeing what else is causing the bill to be over $200 instead of $183, they calculate that it's because of the insurance. Two lines are at $13, two lines are at $9. Problem with that is that when the customer said take the insurance off, the supervisor just immediately did it. Here's the problem with that, and this is why I say this is a problem. In that situation, if I spoke with the customer, yes, you want your insurance off. Okay, that's going to greatly reduce your bill. However, down the road, because you have to think down the road too. Like in that moment, yes, you're trying to fix that problem, but down the road, the customer can end up breaking their phone, and without insurance, they're not going to get a replacement. They're going to have to buy a phone outright. So if they go to the store is going to do this little thing, which is called phantom churn. They would advise a customer to open up a new line on the account to get a phone at a discounted price, and then move that phone over to the main number that had the broken phone, and then call in and cancel the new line added. Problem with that is that, one, if they cancel that new line, it won't be canceled under 14-day satisfaction because they would have to give back the phone. The contract, of course, would be moved over, and you're still going to have to pay off the lease agreement or the flex agreement on the broken phone as well as on the new phone. So now you're increasing your bill. Also, retention agents are let go a lot of because technically your job is to retain customers. If you have a percentage of deactivations, cancellations, or port outs under you as an agent, if your numbers are high, of course Sprint's going to let you go. They're going to think you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But these store reps create these issues that adds on to something which is called phantom churn, where the customer's not leaving Sprint. They just added a line as a workaround to get a replacement phone because they didn't have insurance on their phone, so they can get a new phone, and then they want that line canceled. But that line being canceled still counts as a hit against the retention agent. So the store rep is basically burdening the retention agent, and yeah. But all this could have been avoided if at a moment like this where the customer asks, drop the insurance, that he would at least explain what the outcome would be if any of those devices got damaged, which he didn't. All in all, this call is a classic thing of error at the store, retention having not the power, oh, I want to say not the power, but having less tools to work with to resolve the customer's issues because of past idiotic moves by previous retention reps, and just not good, not well enough explanations. And then also they mentioned about having a credit union and that would get an additional chunk of money off the bill every month, but they would have to register online. And I know of that because that's the I Love My Credit Union thing, promotion that goes on. When you register within the first 30 days, you get $100 off, I believe, each line. After you surpass that 30-day limit, it's $50 each line, and you have to re-enroll every year. And that's because if you're a credit union member, you get this promotional discount. And while the representative was trying to mention this to the customer, they were already aggravated requesting for a supervisor. This should still have been made mention to the supervisor to explain to the customer when he took over the call. So there's a lot of things that could have made the experience a lot better, and I know I'm critiquing it probably because that's I mean it was still in general. I mean both sides held the conversation really good in my opinion. The customers were very patient even though it was a long call. The representative wasn't overbearing or making the customer feel like it was their fault, and he wasn't really passing blame over to the stores, even though technically in this situation it was the store's fault. We can say with this example that the store was definitely out to make their commission sale. So yeah, basically, if you guys want, like I said, link in the description, listen to the call. You guys will understand what I mean by all these things that I'm saying. And I really appreciate the viewer for dropping the link and sharing it. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I know it's a long video, but definitely something I think you guys should check out. So until next time, y'all will hear from me later on. Aloha.